Welcome to Church of the Beatitudes. We are excited that you have chosen to be with us on this Halloween Sunday. And we are very excited about all sorts of different things that are happening today, and some of them are making a comeback.
A comeback?
Yeah.
You mean the thing in the parking lot?
No, the thing over there.
Over where?
Over there. There used to be our chapel.
What?
You have no idea what I'm talking
you.
about. See, you're messed up because you saw that.
I saw that costume.
That incredible suit back there. That.
I'm a little distracted. That's awesome.
Well, today, right after church, they have 3 different options they can do, right?
I know there's a lot of options.
Well, let's go for it.
Okay.
Tell them what they are.
Well, happy Halloween, everyone, first of all. Our Trunk or Treat and Costume Festival is today.
So that's option number 1.
Is that what the comeback was?
Well, that is, because that has a rich history here at the Church of the Beatitudes.
That's right.
The Trunk or
That's
Treat.
what I thought you meant.
And it's something that we're bringing it back, and so we're excited about.
So at the end of service, I want everybody to stay seated, because we have a costume parade that you don't want to miss. The little tiny humans are going to come in and they're going to parade around in their little costumes, and you don't want to miss that. But then you want to go outside afterwards for candy.
But before you get their candy, they may want to get something to help wash it down with.
No, I want candy.
You can have candy.
Oh, you mean the CLM thing?
Yes.
Of course. Have you been missing our coffee hour?
Oh, that's not good, you know.
That was great, don't you think? B-E-A-N?
No. Yeah.
I've been missing it. CLM is starting coffee hour outside on the outdoor plaza afterwards. So you can grab a cup of coffee. It will have lids on that.
Yep. And if you're new here, one of the things you can do is you walk out the door here on the south side and turn to the left, and you'll see where the coffee cart is over there.
Great.
So you can grab a cup of coffee, then you can go over to the Trunk or Treats.
And get candy.
And there's one other thing they can do. What is that?
After church?
Yes.
Get their face painted.
You can get your face painted, but you can also come back into the foyer.
Oh, right. Because we have a new art exhibit.
Yes. And it's the first time that we've actually hung something here in our renovated facility. So we're very excited to have the artist, Erika Warren, and just in a little bit, we're going to invite her forward, and she's going to tell you a little bit about her artwork. And so you have so many different things you can do. You grab a coffee, you can come back in, look at the art, talk with the artist, or you can go out into the parking lot and trunk or treat and candy. I think you had too much candy already, Janelle.
I haven't had any. This is coffee, baby.
Oh, gosh.
I also want to tell everybody about something I mentioned last week. Tony, what is better than fellowship in a donut?
Donut, I don't know.
Fellowship in 2 donuts.
In 2 donuts.
Know what I'm talking about?
So no, I don't. What's going on?
Plan B is happening, and this is on November 6th. It's Saturday at 10 a.m. down at Tempe Town Lake. We've rented now 2 giant donut boats for everyone, and it's $11 a seat. There are still seats available, and you can contact Stephen after service if you want to grab one of those seats. And we'd love to have you. It's an hour of fellowship in a giant donut.
In a giant donut.
I'm telling you, it's going to be great.
I believe you.
And finally, I want to mention something. Our member in discernment, Ellie Hutchison, couldn't be here today, but she is involved in something called #ChurchOut. We're still here. This is going to be an open mic, and it's on November 4th at a place called Boycott Bar down on 7th Avenue. It's an open mic night, and it's a citywide open expression celebration coming out in religious spaces. So all LGBTQA plus Christians and people of all faiths are invited to come share their stories, their songs, and their artistic expressions of their trauma and their reconciliation of faith. So you don't want to miss that.
So that's November?
November 4th.
4th.
So that would be Wednesday at 6 o'clock, Boycott Bar.
Okay.
And if you want more information about it, I would like you to go to our website, and that's beatitudeschurch.org, or you can send me an email at
media@beatitudeschurch.org.
Nice job.
Thank you.
So, and if you want to get signed up for my emails, I really highly encourage you to do that, because that's where all the information is on all of this. What's happening next weekend, Tony?
Next weekend is really a neat opportunity we have. In that, during this time of COVID, we used this as an opportunity to explore different ways in which we could experience worship. Typically, this is what we get. We come together, and because of COVID and with the mask on and the limitations when it comes to singing as well as speaking, we've become very one-directional. Well, online, we've been able to be bi-directional, going in both ways. And one of the things that we've come up with is our worship podcast. And we will have a worship podcast, which is the first and third Sundays at 8:45, and it will meet in the lounge. And this is truly an opportunity for you to have dialogue with us. During the actual podcast, which is a monologue followed by a dialogue, you can participate in that by either texting questions to us, or there will be pieces of paper and you can fill out a question and turn that in. Also, after the podcast, which lasts 45 minutes, we will be having a discussion, and that will last about 30 minutes. And so that's this coming Sunday, a week from today, at 8:45 in the lounge, and it will go 45 minutes with a half-hour discussion. And this is what we're offering as an alternative form of worship. And if you would like to go to both, that's okay also, because the monologue at 8:45 and then the sermon at 10:30 are completely different. And so there's two different experiences altogether. So that's one of the possibilities. The other thing that I'm really excited and wanted to share with you is these new pamphlets. If you look in the pew in front of you, you will notice that there is this pamphlet. It's called Blessed Are. And what's really nice about this encapsulates all the different pictures or paintings that our artist did, Julie. And what she did here is to kind of basically, in a very short, succinct manner, describe for us the meaning she found in each one of these paintings as they deal with one of the Beatitudes. So this is something that you can look at. If you really like it, you can take it home. And the other thing that's really nice is this gives us an opportunity to go along with our window to highlight some of the things that we have. But one of the things that we really want to highlight today is the work of Erika Warren. And at this time, I'm going to invite Erika to please come forward. And she's even got her mic. Come on up, Erika. So I have two questions for you.
Okay.
Question number one, when we go out and we look at all your quilting, is there a meaning or purpose behind your quilts?
There is. My love for Africa, my love for the animals, and especially the people of East Africa and Morocco, especially the women, and I like to inspire my art by going to the animals and to the women. I believe in women helping women through education, through friendship, and through fellowship. I've spent a lot of time in Uganda. I've spent a lot of time in Kenya and an orphanage there. I've taught sewing and encouraging young women financially and other ways of going to the university. At Christmas time, I try to support the many, many widows in Uganda by giving a Christmas package which consists of rice, beans, sugar, and salt.
Wow. And all of that comes just from your own...
Just me.
Yeah.
And the sale of the quilts.
And the sale of the quilts. And so these are for sale, correct?
Every one of them.
Fantastic. And then the other question I had for you, when we think about all the different things that you are doing, are there any local charities that are nearby us that you also work with, not only in Africa, but here in the Phoenix area?
I do. I've also gone to Morocco for 5 different years teaching a little bit of sewing there. And it's also women helping women there, women supporting women, because the government, and especially the men, really frown on women getting together. So it's a big treat. Now, as far as here, for 15 years, I've been the director of a small food pantry up on 19th Avenue in Grover's. We do not go by area codes. Anybody's welcome. We assist families, large and small. We do individuals. We do homeless men and women. And we also supply a very generous food package plus hygiene items. My goal each year is to complete 36 different size lap quilts and full-size quilts. I donate them to the Phoenix Police Advocacy, and these sadly go to rape victims and victims of domestic violence. And then all the scraps, quilters are quite generous. All of the scraps that we have left over go into making beds for cats and dogs in the local shelters. I'd like to say that quilters are very generous, loving people.
Well, Erika, I just want to tell you that today you encapsulate the Beatitude we're looking at, and that is blessed are the merciful. I mean, your kindness and compassion and generosity, not only overseas, but here locally, is amazing. And I encourage each and every one of you just to take the time to look at these quilts. I looked at them on my way earlier today, and they are gorgeous. So thank you very, very much for sharing your art with us, and we look forward to spending more time looking at them. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So,
thank you.
thank you. So Erika gave us a really nice transition, and that transition is we have a goal in mind for our gathering today. Our goal is that when you leave here today, that you will find an inspiration, having been here and in the presence of the divine, to be perhaps this coming week a little bit kinder, a little bit more compassionate to yourself, to your family, and to your friends. And so that is our main purpose in our gathering today, is to focus on that. And to help us begin this process, we use this opportunity of a time of centering. And to do that, one of the most powerful tools we have is music. And so as you listen to this first song, please become centered. And you can do that by listening. You can pick an object somewhere in the worship center, or you may just want to focus on your breathing and truly be present in this moment as we have this time together.
My soul magnifies you, Lord. My soul glorifies you, Lord. For you have seen me, known me, heard my cry. You have not forgotten me, for you have lifted me, filled me with all good things. You, O Lord, remember mercy. You, O Lord, remember mercy. My soul magnifies you, Lord. My soul magnifies you, Lord. For you have seen me, known me, heard my cry. You have not forgotten me. You have lifted me, filled me with all good things. You, O Lord, remember mercy.
The quality of mercy is not strained is said to be one of the greatest quotes from William Shakespeare's works collectively. This monologue appears in the 16th century play by Shakespeare, The Merchant of Venice. In the play, a Jewish moneylender, Shylock, provides a large loan to Antonio, who is unable to pay off the debt. To defend Antonio's concern, Portia comes into the play. In the famous trial scene of the drama, she makes this speech, begging Shylock for mercy. This one's for you, Jim Meadows. The quality of mercy is not strained. It droppeth as the gentle rain from heaven upon the place beneath. It is twice blessed. It blesseth him that gives and him that takes. 'Tis mightiest in the mightiest. It becomes the throned monarch better than his crown. His scepter shows the force of temporal power, the attribute to awe and majesty, wherein doth sit the dread and fear of kings. But mercy is above this sceptered sway. It is enthroned in the hearts of kings. It is an attribute to God himself. And earthly power doth then show likest gods when mercy seasons justice. And from Scripture, we have Matthew 5:7. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy. And many think that this beatitude came from Proverbs 14:21. The one who dishonors the poor sins, but the one who shows mercy to the poor is blessed.
Boo! Did I get you? Today is the day that we intentionally try to scare each other. And if you were standing where I am right now, you would be a little scared. Because I see a ton of masks, and there's one individual over here in particular that has a mask that is truly scary looking. Good job. But this is the day. This is the day that we intentionally scare each other. Some people do not like to be frightened, but if we're honest, I think all of us enjoy being a little scared every once in a while. Occasionally, I will scare someone either at work or my wife at home. And what's amazing is when you first scare them, there's just this moment of startled and a little bit of anger, and then it turns into laughter. And it's at that moment we begin to realize that we can respond in different ways to fear. And it's not something you do intentionally, it just literally happens. Some of us like to be afraid, so we ride roller coasters or we try different things because it makes us feel more alive. When you feel a little bit of fear going through a haunted house, all of a sudden all your senses are heightened and you become more aware of what's going on around you. And so each of us are afraid of different things. We have different phobias that we experience in life. My question for you today is, are you afraid of God? Now, before you quickly answer that question and say no, stop and think about it. Are you afraid of God? And if you are, to what degree? I imagine in my mind that a lot of Christians are afraid of God. And this beatitude that we're looking at today is one of the reasons why we have this fear. This is the only beatitude that is what we call reciprocal. in the idea being that it says, blessed are those who are merciful, for in return you will receive mercy. It's the only one that literally says, if you do this, you'll get it back. And so I think many Christians, when they look at this beatitude, they like the idea of being merciful so they can receive mercy. And for a lot of Christians, the source of mercy that they want to receive is from God. So if you are merciful to other people, then in turn, God will be merciful to you. So it's almost like playing your odds. And the odds are that if I'm kind and compassionate to other people, then God will be kind and compassionate to me. And throughout the Bible, we can find so many examples of where it says that God is a merciful God, that He's forgiving, that He is kind, that He is compassionate. And that is what God in turn asks for us as human beings. But when you read the Bible very carefully, you begin to realize that there is a time limit on God's mercy. Scattered throughout the Old Testament and parts of the New Testament, we have this idea that God is merciful. God is forgiving. But eventually, God's going to stop doing that. And that will be on the day of judgment. Now, this shouldn't surprise us that either Jesus or his followers attributed this idea back to Jesus, this idea of a judgment, that eventually in the future there will be an accountability between you and God, that you will have to stand before the judgment seat. The writer of the Gospel, John, captures this idea in chapter 12, verse 48, when he says, there is a judge for the one who rejects me, and Jesus here is speaking, and does not accept my words. The very words I have spoken will condemn them at the last day. Now, if you read that text, it becomes quite clear that there will come a time when judgment stops. When mercy stops and judgment steps in. And so now is the time to make sure you end up on the right side. So that's maybe the motivation for this beatitude, is the reason why people are merciful and kind and compassionate is because they kind of keep their fingers crossed, hoping that in turn God will be merciful to them, especially at the time of the judgment. And again, this shouldn't surprise us because this is part of the Jewish tradition. But here's my question for you this morning. Is this an idea that we want to continue to hold on to? Do we want to accept this idea that someday we will stand before God and receive judgment? Now, there are some individuals will say, well, you have to believe it because it's in the Bible. Well, the reality is when you read the Bible, there are many things that we kind of wink our eye at. It's like, yeah, we see it, but yeah, no, not really. So in my mind, I ask myself the question, what if there was no judgment? What if that when we die, whatever happens to us happens to each and every one of us equally? Would not that be the greatest form of mercy? Would not that be the greatest expression of compassion? So, if you play with that idea that God is compassionate and it is not temporary, it is not time limited, that there is no judgment at the end of time, then what is our motivation to be merciful to other people? If you take away the fear element, why in the world should we be kind to each other? Why shouldn't we be ego-driven? Always looking out for myself, making myself the priority, taking care of my needs, because if I don't look out for number one, who will? Is it possible that the motivation for this beatitude of showing mercy, of being kind and compassionate to other people, is because we become aware of the reality that we are dependent on other people? Think back upon your life. How many times did you find yourself at some point in your life where you were in a very difficult situation, where you weren't sure how you were going to deal with it, how you were going to face it? What did you do? Can you remember that maybe someone else was willing to step up and help you? Either providing financial support, material support, emotional, psychological support. If that is the case, then you will remember how dependent you have been throughout your life on other people to give you care. And in turn, we demonstrate that care for other people. That becomes our motive. There was an Italian priest by the name of Thomas Aquinas. And he believed that the greatest form of mercy that the vast majority of individuals experience comes from their parents. A man named Sean Floyd, in writing about Thomas Aquinas and his teaching, says the following: Thomas Aquinas emphasized our obligation to our parents. Why? Aquinas states that there is no benefactor that confers a benefit equal to that which a person receives from his or her parents. Indeed, parents are, for the most of us, and again, please understand that both Floyd and I want to emphasize that point, for the most of us, parents are our primary educators, they're our caregivers, and our comforters. He goes on to say, for this reason, Aquinas thinks that for the sake of moral equity, we ought to return our parents' beneficence before that of others. Just remembering that our imperfect parents, they still cared for us. That's why we're here today. They kept us safe. And Thomas Aquinas would say that because your parents showed you mercy, you now ought to show mercy to your parents. And what's amazing about what Thomas Aquinas says is he says that our mercy starts in our inner circle. What's the use of being kind to the stranger when you can't be kind to those you live with? What's the use of showing compassion and giving to other people and organizations, but ignoring those who are within your wider circle, your family and your friends? Thomas Aquinas says that if we would show mercy to those that we are closest to first, it would make a world of difference in our world. And then the circle slowly expands and grows. And so the motivation for being merciful is not hoping that someday you might get mercy from God and be okay. Rather, your motive for being merciful is because you realize that other people have been kind and compassionate to you. Think back about the time that you were in a drive-thru. One that always comes to my mind is Starbucks. But imagine as you're going through Starbucks and you come to the window and the barista looks at you and says, no charge today. And you kind of look at them inquisitively, wondering why. And they said, well, the person in front of you, they paid for your coffee. The vast majority of time when that happens to me, I in turn say, well, I'll take care of the person behind me. And I promise you, I don't look in my rearview mirror and count how many heads are in the car. It's what we call pay it forward. You do an act of kindness because you have received kindness. We are so connected to each other that is what creates a civil society, is that we show each other kindness and compassion. A woman by the name of Lily Hardy in 1916, she wrote a novel entitled The Garden of Delight. And this is what she said: you don't pay love back, you pay it forward. And that's where this whole idea of paying it forward came about. Because one writer understood the reality that you can't pay love back. It's not something you owe someone. But you can pay it forward. And that becomes the motivation for this beatitude. Blessed are the merciful. Why? Because they understand that they are dependent upon other human beings for their survival. So they, in turn, are merciful. It's this huge circle that keeps going and going and going. So this is your opportunity right now to commit to this week to being more merciful to other people. That may mean being a little bit more patient, a little bit more kind, a little bit more compassionate, because you understand that we all need one another, not only just to survive, but to thrive. Amen.
Children shall be satisfied. Blessed are they who hunger and thirst, for they shall be satisfied. And blessed are the merciful, His mercy shall be with them, shining down upon children of God. Be thou exceeding glad and rejoice, rejoice, for great is your reward, for great is your reward, for great is your reward in
This is an opportunity that we have right now to be able to give a gift to ourselves, to show ourselves kindness. And one of the ways we can do that is through either meditation or prayer. What I would invite you to do, to the degree that you are comfortable, is again either find some object in this space or to close your eyes and allow yourself to be aware of your breath. That you will take 5 breaths, and as you breathe in and out, you will focus on that. If a thought comes, let it come in and then let it go out. And truly be centered. As you do this, I will begin our prayer together. Let us be together in a moment of silence. Divine One, you yourself command us to exercise the 3 degrees of mercy. The first, the act of mercy, of whatever kind. The second, the word of mercy. Because if I cannot carry out a work of mercy, I will assist by my words. And the third, prayer. If I cannot show mercy by deeds or words, I can always do so through prayer. For our prayer reaches out even there where I cannot physically be present. This week, Divine One, inspire us to show mercy. Amen.
Church, we are so fortunate today to have not one, but 2 special performances by young adults in our community. And the first is going to be by Sam Brumlow, who is here on the guitar. He's another student of Rodney Anderson, and we're so grateful that you're sharing your time and your talents today, Sam. The second is actually following the postlude, so stay tuned for a special surprise as our children will lead us out for trunk or treat. But right now, I want you to reflect on the ways that you have given mercy, that you have been shown mercy as you listen to this prelude by Bach.
Thank you again for taking the time to be with us here today. There are times when I come in here and I'm by myself, and believe me, it's not the same as when you're around other people that you know and that you care for. So again, thank you for either being present with us or watching online. Again, just a quick reminder that immediately after our blessing, there will be a short prelude followed by a parade of sorts that I don't think you're going to want to miss, as well as one of our artists on the organ. And then also, when you leave, if you're done with the trick-or-treating, trunk-or-treating, looking at all the different cars, please be careful as you drive. There are some individuals that will be out there that are not quite as tall as others, and so those who are younger and shorter, please be in the watch out for them. So thank you again for your presence, and as you leave, please receive this blessing. May you be blessed with a sense of serenity. There's going to be things this coming week that you're going to dislike, perhaps that you wish weren't so, but you realize that you're not going to be able to change them. May you have the serenity to accept them. But then there's also going to be opportunities that you will have to show compassion, to be merciful to others. So may you be blessed with the courage to do those things. And then may you also be blessed with a spirit of love that is within you and that is waiting to come forth and to become real. And so this week, please, as you show mercy and kindness, that is a way in which you will make love real for another person. Amen.